Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. Um, Put out batch 7 of the donational indicators today, October the 24th. The year's 2021. And as you know, the donational indicators are not sold. They're sent as a thank you to those who make donations. And just remember, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. And no matter whose system, method, indicators you use, always employ, use risk management. Never lose more than you're willing to lose on any one particular trade. So, the first indicator I have is the TRO2021 multimeter close CLMA for close minus the moving average. Now, you guys know how I feel about squigglies, but they do have their place. And one of their places, for me at least, is when I see price get so far away from a moving average and I'm in a trade, I'm going to take my money off the table. And you can see right here, on this particular, right at this particular moment, you could see that the close is at least 4 pips above the SMA 5 here. Normally, when I trade, I like to use the EMA 5, and I just use the regular, but just to show you how these things work. And so when I see this 3 pips or more, I'm usually out of the trade. If I've already made 3 pips or more, because you can see here price got away and then it came back, price got away and then it came back. Now, of course, the moving average is changing too. Point being, when I see these big moves like right here, look what happened next. So this indicator lets me know, hey, it's time to take my money off the table. The other way to use this indicator, for example, if you're a swing trader, is you can see if like the higher numbers get low. So for example, here on the D1 time frame, you can see prices right there at that moving average. So if you were using this live and you saw it go from green to red, you might start thinking, hey, it's time for me to go short based on my moving average. So that's, and here's the indicators here so you can see them. Now, on the next chart, we've got the same indicator, but we have 3 instances of it. Okay. Now, normally what you have to do is put a change the indicator tag, but I'm assuming you're not going to have the same values here. So if you have, like, you might have another 5, but you might have exponential versus simple or something. And to change this, you just use the drop down method. So with the MA method here, you've got simple, exponential, smooth, and linear weighted. And for the MA price, you've got your typical prices here. Well, typical price is actually, if I remember correctly, is the pivot price. And then the weighted price is close plus open plus high plus low divided by 4. Typical is open, high, no, it's close, high, and low divided by 4. Median's just high plus low divided by 2. Okay. And then you use the shift up, down. Usually you want to increment each one by 15. So the last one was 30, this one's 45. And that's how that works. And you can also change the colors to match the colors of the moving average on the chart here. So you go, oh, this one goes here, this red one goes here, and the green one is with that. And I just use the moving average indicator that comes with MT4 as opposed to using the one I made with the candle colors, just to keep things simple, so it's easier to see. The other one, the changes the colors, and it's easier to get confused like that. So that's this multimeter. So you can build your own little dashboard here. So, and you can just focus on whichever time frame you're most interested in, or you can use it to look at various time frames. So you can see here on the 50, the weekly is right near it. So once again, for swing traders, you might want to say, what's going on with this? So this might be an indication for you to take a trade, because now the close is above all three moving averages. So for those people who believe in trend, etc., they might want to take a long trade here. But that's not my style. But I try to make the tools versatile so everybody can use them. Now, I was talking about how if price gets so far away from the moving average, it's time to get out of the trade. Well, the other thing is price loves the return. It seems to love the return of those opens. So here we have the TRO2021 return MA for moving average. And once again, you pretty much all the same indicators or inputs. Now, one thing, the body threshold, I'm looking at the size of the body more so than the size of the candle here in the return MA. So you can see if price is getting away from, that close again and the body is so big, it will usually return. So right here, I'm looking for price to return to this level possibly. And then here, and then also maybe here. So that's just, and also it's going to return this way. So these are just targets. So it tells me, once again, time to exit the trade. Or it says when it's down here, it's like, hey, price just might come back up. So I can start placing trades here and scalping, for short-term trades, still looking to see maybe it'll reach this area. But hey, if it only gets halfway, if I only make 10 pips, that's fine by me. Now, to pinpoint it, I added the moving average to the frequency distribution indicator. So what happens here is, in the levels, you now have moving average. And so down here, once again, you have the MA period, how many bars, the MA shift. Usually use 0 because you want the current value. Method simple. Here, close price. So on the M5 time frame, this is telling me if it gets to 10, chances are it's not going further, and I should be taking my money off the table if I've ridden one bar where the price has gotten away from the moving average by 10 pips. And of course, in this indicator, you can change these. So maybe you might put 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 20, 50, 75. You can change them to however you want. And so you can see here, difference greater than 0, of course, 100% of the time. And I also have the absolute value turned on, so it doesn't matter if it's above or below the moving average. It's going to say, hey, if it gets 3 pips above or below, that's only going to happen about 36% of the time. So that's one of the reasons why, especially if I'm on M1, I'm going to pop out. It's because over the last 100 bars. But of course, with M1, that's not even 2 hours. So you can come in here, number of bars you want to test. You can do the last 1,000 bars, and you get a better idea. Still, only 13% of the time is it going to be greater than 3. So once it gets to 3, I'm usually going to take my money off the table. And that's just one of the ways how I trade that. And this is weird. Why was this the pound yen? Final indicator is the TRO2021 higher low, lower high multi-frequency. So instead of having to load up the indicator, 4, 5, 6 times, I've just built one so it's all inclusive. So I like to use 34, which matches the 3 ball on the 3 level ZZ indicator. So it simulates that. And how I use this indicator is for reversal / breakout trading. So price came down, it made a low. I believe that may have not been the low of the day. But price came down and made a low, and then it started to come back up and start breaking through some of these lower highs. So usually I like to trade this method looking at 5-minute chart or 1-minute chart. So what I'm looking at here is if I'm on the 1-minute chart, see it came up, moved up, and that was about 4 pips from this entry. I take my money off the table, and then price started coming back down. You can see here, came back up, only maybe a pip, came back down. I probably would have been stuck in that trade right here, and then finally it broke through. Probably would have taken my money off the table somewhere at this level. But if I stayed in that trade, which I probably wouldn't have, you can see it broke through again, onward and upward. Actually, if I remember correctly, I think I did stay in this trade. And the reason being was, as I showed earlier, there was this huge return bar. So I think I did take about 9 pips out of this last trade because I was looking here and it's like it wasn't, falling back down through these lower highs. So if you look here, you can see you've got the M5 lower high, then the M15, and the M30, but then you have the M1. Remember, this is based on 34 bars. And so those are the indicators in batch 7 of the donationals. I know there was somebody contacted me about MT5, and they wanted to know if I could do an indicator. I spent about, 2-3 hours last night fighting with MT5. I just hate MT5. It's like what was so simple in MT4, it's like pulling teeth in MT5, and I just put it aside because it was just driving me crazy. In fact, it was on moving averages. And since that's what I was working on anyway, even though I'm not a fan of the squiggly, they do have their place, in trading. And knowing what other traders are doing can sometimes be advantageous. But just trying to do that with MT5, maybe I'm just not acclimated to it yet, but the programming just seems like, why is it I can do something in one statement in 4, but it's going to take me, I've got to do this and then do some other things over here. It takes me 5 or 10 statements and I got to worry about a bunch of stuff I didn't have to worry about. To me, it's a different way of doing it, and I guess it has its advantages, but not for me. So anyway, enough of that MT5 rant. So if you ask me for MT5 stuff and I don't do it, don't take it personally. I just don't like MT5 at the moment. Who knows? Things could change. Anyway, fellow traders, that's it. I hope you find some use out of the work that I've done in the donationals. But also, I sent you the TRO build 1350. It's got some good stuff in there. HL5, dynamic support resistance, and a few other new ones. So check it out. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.